Welcome to the Layperson's Biochemistry class. Today's webinar is not live due to the fact that there is so much that I want to share with you. It also allows you to repeat watch for more questions. Please post them on all your questions onto the Facebook forum after the webinar. Just to remind you that even though I know my stuff and I have studied nutrition for many years, I do not have a doctorate or a PhD, meaning that I'm not in a position to actually diagnose, but I can assure you I do know and I can help you. So let's start with our slideshow. Don't you all just love the old convention wisdom of eat less and train more? Is it about calories in and calories out? Can you really out-train bad eating habits? Fortunately, the status quo statement could not be further from the truth. And if it was, why do our runners look like this? I've taken photos of average runners, meaning that they were not the first at the finish line. So in the 1980s, you can see that they were pretty lean. Not too sure what happened in the 2010s, but I'm sure we do know. Would we all agree that the distance and the race effort has not changed? However, we and our eating habits have. So my top 7 hormones that I'm going to touch on today that I believe aid to your extra weight gain. The first 2 is your insulin and estrogen. Then we have leptin, cortisol, thyroid, growth, and testosterone. We've got quite a few hormones and all of them bounce off each other. At the end of the day, your human body is so amazing that if one is out of kilter and you are in touch with your body will let you know. So let's start with your insulin. Do you think this is still you or it was you before your banting journey? Do you think you could be insulin resistant? Hormone imbalance, your PCOS, estrogen dominance, that low thyroid, a high LDL cholesterol and triglycerides, increased fat storage. Did you on a daily basis before you started banting, or maybe you still do, have every single day fatigue, constant hunger, inability to lose weight, cravings for those sugary foods, fatigue after meals, migrating aches and pains, and that beautiful upper abdominal obesity? So what is insulin? Insulin is our gate key to turn glucose into energy. I have tried to make this as pretty much layman as possible so that we can all understand it. It is a very important hormone that allows blood sugar or glucose to provide energy to all cells in your body, whether it's for physical or mental activity. After digesting a meal, your body breaks down the food to glucose in your small intestine. The pancreas then creates insulin to match the glucose and turns the glucose into energy. So now for our conundrum. Insulin is also known as a fat storage hormone, as well as the anabolic hormone, meaning it actually builds muscle and stores protein. Hence why you start to naturally build your muscle again with the banting lifestyle. So how do we get insulin resistance? Well, there's 2 main common factors. When we start to consume diet high in glucose forming foods, especially your refined carbs, processed foods, and your high sugary foods, these saturate the blood with glucose and the pancreas has to work harder to create insulin. Eventually, the cells shut down and we become resistant. Second factor is when we continuously consume food and drink, where insulin has to match the blood glucose. So on my little diagram on the right-hand side, you can see for breakfast between 6 and 8 a.m., we have our fiber and vitamin-enriched cereal. So it's been marketed. Your blood sugar spikes to such an extent. Your insulin in red has to match that blood sugar. And by 10 a.m., you're feeling grumpy, so you have to snack again. Obviously, we were all health conscious, so we had our oats and our sugary fruit bars. Again, your blood sugar spikes. Insulin hasn't even left your body yet, and it has to match that blood sugar again. Come 12 o'clock, our croissants, processed cheese, processed ham. Then we have our water biscuits and cheese between 2 and 4 p.m. And then we get home and we make a nice little pasta. And guaranteed between all of that, you've had sugary drinks plus that little snacky chocolate between somewhere, if not after supper. So as you can see on the diagram, in red, like I said, the insulin, it's never really left your body. So then you sleep, and maybe it's been giving it a bit of a chance to try and get out. However, breakfast comes and you start the whole entire cycle again. So where does this lead us to? Well, hypoglycemia, prediabetes, diabetes 2, diabetes 1, and Alzheimer's, which they're now renaming diabetes 3. So you ask, is this all preventable and reversible? Absolutely. And in most cases, definitely. What can we do? Well, your Banting LCHF lifestyle to start has been a good choice. Then adding our magnesium-rich foods, which come from a lot of our green vegetables, hence why we give you the green list, plus a lot of other nutritional benefits from the green veggies. Then you would have to get plenty of good sleep. If you just add in a calcium and a magnesium before you go to bed supplement, you sleep like a baby. Your omega-3 fish oil is anti-inflammatory, your chromium and L-carnitine. These supplements are great to aid in fat burning, as well as lessening your LDL and your triglycerides, and also stabilizes the blood sugar. Then fasting regularly. If I was to give you an example and ask you to fast for 16 hours, would it be possible? Okay, if I explained it this way, if you had supper at 6 o'clock and you didn't eat anything again or drink anything that would spike your insulin, 6 o'clock comes in the morning, you've done 12 hours. All we needed was another 4. So 10 o'clock you have breakfast. That's 16 hours. Pretty doable. Then our last little factor is stop-start resistance training, or in other words, Tabata. All we need you to do is 20 minutes of run up the stairs, jackknives for 1 minute, whatever it is, for a 20-minute period, just to get your heart rate up and down. An FYI note, we only need a teaspoon of glucose sugar in our entire body at one time. However, in just this can of soda, there is 10 times the amount. Now let's look at estrogen. I do love this hormone. It takes a lot of questions out why men and women are so different. However, estrogen does not just plague women, but men too. So estrogen is one of our biggest differentiators between man and woman. And I did laugh when I saw the top little slide, because if you look closely, the man's ears, nose, and mouth, as well as those man boobs, they all grow with estrogen dominance. Men have the testosterone advantage, and this is why they lose weight faster than women. 80% of women over the age of 35 years start to become estrogen dominant. That's why we have the middle age spread. After all is said, estrogen is one of the easiest hormones to get back into check. We do this naturally with the Banting by increasing our fiber through our veg or the green list. Then we lessen the toxin and the hormone intake through our foods. Then, unfortunately, I know a lot of you don't want to hear this, but to give up that everyday glass of wine. It does increase estrogen and decreases your progesterone and stops your weight loss by 70% in a 24-hour period. So you need to reassess what is it that you really want and what is important to you. So the causes of estrogen dominance is obviously through our environmental exposures, those BPA through your plastics, and chemicals through our foods that we ingest, or even the preservatives in our canned foods. Then our stress, it naturally blocks progesterone and therefore increases estrogen again, as well as those continued yo-yo dietings many of us have tried. Stress again comes hand in hand with a good sleep. Just to mention again, your calcium magnesium supplement. Then again, the conundrum, that fat cell that we're all holding on to, it's like a little factory that stores and makes more estrogen. So yes, as we laugh, the complication and all the effects in the little pink block to what's in the blue block. I'm sure on your banting journey so far, you could pretty much cross off a lot of those things on the pink list. On the blue list, your enlarged prostate, like I said, man boobs, and the decrease in sexual drive. I'm sure those things are enough motivation to stay banting. Now, for a closing note. At the end of the day, we are all unique. We come from different genes and different lifestyles. Gain the knowledge and figure out the truth that works for you and your body. Be safe wherever you are.